Okay, well, good morning, everybody. Happy Wednesday to everyone joining us. And as always, welcome to Engineering the Markets. My name is Jared, and it is June 22nd, 2022. So, apologies, having some trouble with the webcam this morning. So, we will be videoless for the initial section here. But overall, we're going to take a look at the market performance yesterday. We're going to maybe talk about some scenarios that are starting to shape up. And then, of course, the short-term volatility that we continue to see as the market has not only gapped down this morning, but we're seeing a gap down below yesterday's open. So that kind of brings into question how to approach this market from a swing perspective, along with the type of risks that traders are taking by carrying certain positions overnight. So, with all that said, let's go ahead and take a look at the overall performance yesterday. Certainly a fairly bullish session. Now, when I say bullish, I mean a few key points, most of which comes with the structure of yesterday's trade and how most of the market was aligned towards one direction. For those unfamiliar, this was a trending style day yesterday where the market had a very clear rally that initiated from the open. This is essentially a variant of a trending day setup where the market starts elevated and usually continues, and that can be elevated maybe to the downside or to the upside. So it starts in a new location, basically gapped away from previous value. As we rallied, the market gained strength across multiple sectors. You'll see this in some of the overall performance and also just how the market traded yesterday across a wide variety of stocks. So what we normally state here is that the market was more or less correlated throughout most of the session. Interesting, however, is some of the lead performance. If you recall yesterday, we talked about how energy had just barely breached into a bear market zone from a relative high. So we were essentially seeing the beginnings of a possible oversold bounce coming into the market. And energy yesterday started to showcase what an oversold bounce looks like and how well it can perform. So we'll take a look at a couple of those stocks later. But if you look at the rest of the marketplace, there was a wide breadth of performance across multiple sectors. Most specifically, I would say technology being on the bullish side of the market certainly helped with the overall performance yesterday. And if you're looking across other key sectors, something like a healthcare and consumer discretionary, putting up multiple percentages of performance was also a nice benefit to the rally. There was a couple of outlier cases yesterday. We had the Meta name, so previous Facebook or FB. That particular stock is slowly losing some of its relevance to the S&P in regards to maybe the top 10 holdings. But overall, it still has a wide, I would say, sentiment attached to it, along with the performance of it affecting the communication services sector. So yesterday, there was a bit of news regarding its exposure in Russia, along with a more afternoon-related news in regards to a DOJ settlement. Both of those not necessarily bearish in nature, but the overall momentum of that particular name was quite bearish, and that was an outlier in an overall bullish market yesterday. Most stocks were either leading to the upside or at least seeing some sort of stabilization in their price. So when we look at that compared to this morning and maybe talk about how to prepare for the day ahead of us, we can see that on yesterday's session, I'll just kind of bring it into a short-term trade here. The market was able to breach a previous swing high from pre-market. It was also able to sort of reclaim some of the selling from last week. We saw was essentially the afternoon style trade where you get a choppy lunchtime session, lots of back and forth oscillations in the market. And in fact, they're pretty clear cut on the 5-minute. You'll notice that there's sort of this very clear downtrend that turns into a shorter term uptrend, and then back and forth as we start to compress. Market did have a final rally into the close, and then we pulled back into our value zone or our VPOC area for yesterday's session. And that's going to be mostly seen on a very short time frame, something akin to a day. Past 5 minutes, you'll notice 375 stands out very clearly as yesterday's VPOC. And this is mostly based on the trade that occurred during the lunchtime consolidation or just chop back and forth style trade. So whenever you're approaching a market like this on the intraday, it's important to just be aware of who's in charge. For yesterday's trade, I would say most of the session was relegated to the bulls. And while there are certainly bearish trades to take place, and there obviously were those outlier stocks, on a trending day, you want to be cautious of having a single-minded approach in regards to what your directional bias should be, mostly because the trending day offers very limited number of setups in the opposite direction. You know, if we just kind of look back at yesterday's trade, there really were only 2 to 3 bearish style trades, of which they're either less confirmed in regards to just timing the high of day before lunch. There's also sort of this lower high approach here, which did happen to form a higher low, but that of course needed to be assessed in the moment. And then of course the afternoon, the sort of retest of the high of day, and then the fade back to VPOC. That is a classic trend day ending for a lot of sessions. Usually you'll see an attempt to re-expand, and then the market will either say yes or no and move back into value, or continue to climb or fall if it's a downtrending day. So the thing to be wary of on those days is, of course, the timing. A trend day to the upside tends to mostly be about holding a position for an extended period of time, usually monitoring things like your sell swings. So obviously, once the market topped, this area became an area of contention for the market. And that's more from the horizontal support perspective. You'll also notice that as we started to compress, there's a very clear trend line that establishes itself. And that, of course, is still net bullish as the trend line is rising and people are buying higher lows leading into our high of day test. So the structure here is pretty straightforward. I wanted to reiterate it mostly because in this market, we're sort of, I would not say trained, but maybe aligned to think a certain way based on previous price activity. Understanding that the market will have sessions such as yesterday, where for the most part, your bias should be against the dominant trend, along with thinking about when should those days take place. And that's, of course, more for our general analysis here, where we're looking at a market that's a bit oversold. We did have a gap up open, and then, of course, the gap and go from the morning session. The market was ready to rally, and really we were just looking to see how high did it want to go before seeing any consolidation. Now, that was yesterday. today, obviously brand new day, and we are seeing this gap down open. Notably, we're seeing it below yesterday's open, so we are basically trading under a lot of the bullish activity yesterday. And if I'm making that assessment, we do need to kind of pay attention to what style of trade tends to happen around these price levels. For one, I would say that the market is gravitated or just aligned to about 370. You'll see this mostly on a short-term time frame. There's pockets of value that are starting to form as we trade at these lower prices for the first time in about a year. And these zones tend to be gravity spots. Markets tend to keep returning to these areas before we see any stronger technical signals for breakouts and breakdowns. Another thing that might be starting to happen here is we're starting to get the potential for some structure forming near the lows that could facilitate a more long bias trade. But at this point in time, the back testing and obviously the gap downs are pretty hard to manage as a swing trader, someone who maybe carries their position overnight. So some things to maybe watch out for in the next coming days. And really, these are just scenarios to think about. Not saying that each one is highly likely or probable. First things first, I would say that anytime the market pivots, whether it be just a quick daily pivot or not, you want to think about your shorter term trend lines. For the moment, given that we are gapping down, we do have a structure down here where we have two lower highs, areas of the market where we tried to go bullish. And then, of course, if we see another low, that'll facilitate our lower trend line, which if you start to manage this down in these ranges, it is structurally akin to a smaller channel. You look at it from this perspective here, you can see the type of impact we're starting to have. Now, this is kind of an evolving structure because at least at the moment, we only have two connection points top side. We do have technically three downside, so we can project our channel to the top. But you'll notice that against a larger trading channel in the S&P, we do have these smaller structures where we have pretty significant highs and lows, definitely something that's going to impact us as day traders. Additionally, it's worth mentioning, just to kind of reiterate, that with gap down structure in the market, managing risk is a little bit more, I would say, active at this point, or at the very least more technically challenging. What you're going to see is that you can be correct in your direction, at least for a period of time, and these gap down opens can easily bypass your stops, especially as a swing trader, or just simply negate the directional bias that the market had on a previous session. It's pretty clear that yesterday there really was nothing wrong with the uptrend. The market was structured very well to continue, or maybe just have a little bit more consolidation before continuing. And yet these gap downs, these sort of gap fill returns back to value, from a technical trade, from a risk to reward perspective, very difficult to manage. So however you're deciding to approach this market, maybe you're sticking only with day trades at this time due to the gapping issue with the S&P. You might also be widening your stops. That was kind of a suggestion probably a couple of weeks ago in regards to some of the gap down opens we kept seeing. And even just the idea of taking a position using a risk-defined instrument, something like options, or set up in such a way that even if the market gaps against you, you're basically defined in how much you're going to lose or win. Obviously, gaps favor the party that gets the gap direction correct. So a couple of notes for today outside the S&P. We'll take a look at the energy market since it did have that oversold bounce. Crude is seeing additional decline today, and I'll bring this out to our daily. Once again, not really highlighting too much structure here. There was a pre-existing trend line that formed. You might want to be watching for a reaction against this, quote unquote support level that formed as crude started to rebuild. But overall, we're seeing the impacts to our energy stock plays based on some of the volatility in the asset classes. We've already spoken about how natural gas very likely has put in at least a multi-week style top. The collapse here is very convincing to that top being set. And then obviously we're returning back to previous levels, which is very typical of parabolic or overbought and oversold style plays. So, the structure here is one of maybe anticipation as we are back at a support level. But overall, the structure of the uptrend has been broken. This is looking at the potential of a weekly lower high and then the possibility of a weekly trend change coming in the next couple of weeks. If we shift over to energy and we just kind of look at how that impacted yesterday's trade, just wanted to note here that the bounce started a bit early relative to maybe the expected area. So we may have to adjust here and simply say that there is a slight rising trend line, but you'll note that overall the bounce started a little early relative to that trend line. We kind of got the stronger session yesterday, and then at least from the trading terminal perspective, about a 4 to 5% advance from Friday's close. So this is more of a technical setup here. I would still say to be quite cautious of energy plays moving forward, and mostly just note where the market has established the highest value. Also know where we topped out yesterday. The market bounced into this VPOC. This is basically our range VPOC sitting under the breakout that occurred. And this is where, at least for the most part, I expect longs and shorts to basically target. If the market does start to rally once again into these upper ranges, any sort of rejection or fade should be targeting this VPOC. And then, of course, bounces, oversold bounces or otherwise, should likely be targeting this value zone as their first target. You can do this across multiple markets as well. We were looking at XOP, which also went a bit parabolic. That, of course, has collapsed as well with other energy plays. And if you look at the decline here, this did actually enter bear market territory on this drop. We did have a close at about 24% from the swing high. Not necessarily something to concern with in terms of that percentage drop, but it showcases the type of retracement that we're seeing. This is pretty evident on the weekly time frame, but it's also evident where we're headed on these drops, the bounce reaction to them. And if you're looking maybe shorter term here, if we start to see this break down further, we're very likely to see that weekly downtrend form back into some of our deeper consolidations, something that structured the bull run into 2022. So just be cautious of your positional risk in these names, whether you're doing swing or day trade. I think the volatility is definitely attractive here for day trade, but the swing bias should be reassessed. It's not as simple as buy the pullback anymore in energy stocks. I think you have to manage your targets and also manage your timing a bit better. And let's see. Excuse me. Last but not least, just showing the continual collapse here of this particular ETF, which is the equal-weighted S&P. I'm using this mostly to showcase the overall breadth of the market from a longer term perspective, not necessarily identifying just yesterday's session. But we noted how a lot of defensive sectors have sort of lost their luster. What was once a sector that was at least holding or performing better than the S&P, those have also taken the same tumble as a lot of different growth or maybe relatively stronger names. Identifying things like utilities, which saw just as steep of a decline as the rest of the market. This was not a defensive name if you looked back about a week ago, or defensive sector. And also noting, the continual decline that we're seeing with consumer staples, which historically does have that defensive quality. Anytime you see these structural changes as a technical trader, you need to be evolving your perspective of what the chart is offering. What is the market dictating the best trade to be? And what you'll notice here is over time, this has formed, that clear downtrending resistance, especially since we've lost structurally a rising channel that has been built since about the beginning of, I want to say 2020. Yeah, this is mid 2020. So this structural channel has been a guideline for this ETF, and that has started to break down. So when you start to look at markets from this perspective and just simply see that what was once a clear-cut approach to trade, to positional risk, and ultimately to volatility, if you're looking at something that has maybe let's say, for example, this is about a 5 to 10% wide channel, it gives you a sense of what the volatility looks like on pullbacks. It might not necessarily be that the market respects the lows and the highs like it did before. We certainly get small breaches and very minute lower bound tests. But if you can understand that the channel dictates a little bit of what to expect on a drawdown, then your portfolio will ultimately experience the same, beta risk, and also see the same type of upside performance if you're still biased long. Whenever that starts to change and whenever you see volatility start to expand, especially, this is probably our signal that this is no longer the case. That's when you start to reassess or realign what your portfolio is exposed to, along with simply saying that this might be a time to reevaluate, the bias, basically, to no longer be thinking in one direction, maybe to start thinking a bit more neutral or obviously bearish in the case of a downtrend. So as the markets continue evolving here, I just like to bring up these sectors. They all have their own structure. They're all in different locations. They're obviously seeing buy and sell swings of different magnitudes. And of course, there's always going to be standouts. As I mentioned yesterday, Meta was a key name to the downside. But remember, with these changes, the market itself, or the S&P itself, will also adjust. Worth mentioning that Meta is no longer a top 10 holding of the S&P. It has been superseded by other higher market cap holdings that are also on the decline, but not necessarily losing market cap to the degree that Meta Platforms has seen over the past 6 months. So this used to be within, I think, the top 7 most of the time. You were going to often see, your big market cap names. Tesla and Meta were somewhere in the mix. And then, of course, you have your 2 big healthcare names, J&J, United Healthcare, and Berkshire as your lead financial name. So as I mentioned, these are not necessarily strong stocks. I mean, Berkshire has taken it on the chin like the rest of the market. This is we'll go ahead and just measure here. This is a 26% decline. So there really is no amount of safety in this market, especially when you're looking at the drawdowns from all-time highs. But there are going to be opportunities on the way down because we have support areas. We have areas where we expect reactions, and we will, as traders, often take advantage of these much better than the longer term investor who simply has to manage portfolio exposure, both long and short. So question on YouTube. How do you think Jay Powell's speech to the Senate will impact today's trading? I would say that overall we want to be aware of the time that takes place. We may also just want to see about having less trade exposure at that time. If you're someone who's managing 2 to 3 trades, maybe consider taking some profit on some of the ones that are in profit. And then, of course, if one is awaiting a profit zone, just be kind of aware where your stop sits and how impacted it is to the S&P. There are stocks out there that are not going to see any real shakeup with S&P volatility. We have one stock on our list today called Rev. This is a name that I brought up about 2 weeks ago that was going through a bankruptcy filing. And, it's kind of interesting to see these stocks go through these cycles. A bankruptcy filing happened to be one of the most bullish setups for this particular name, which has already seen about a 700% increase. I think we're trading around 7 to 8 this morning. Yeah, so we're hitting in the top 8s right now. So it's amazing to see these names go through these cycles. And the only real reason I brought it up is because of Hertz. Hertz had a very similar activity that occurred. I don't know exactly when it was announced here, but you can see very clear volume changes somewhere probably around here, if not maybe sooner. Can't remember. Yeah, but basically I can't remember the timing, but it's one of those cyclical aspects of the market where you've seen it before. You're not really afraid of what's going to happen. And obviously as a day trader, you're able to manage your risk appropriately. So it's amazing to see that. But this is an example of a stock where you could probably trade this today. Not saying it's long or short, but you could trade it today and it won't be affected by that volatility. So part of it will be managing the risk when it's taking place. Part of it is maybe saying while it's taking place, allow the market to settle out and then take future trades. And part of it might be trade stocks that aren't impacted. If you have some trade book that allows you to manage these types of stocks, there's a very clear uptrend. It's simply just got a sort of curled nature to it. It's obviously accelerating its trend as momentum is coming in, but that is still a bullish stock getting stronger. So, finding ways to take advantage of that intraday and buying certain pullbacks for the next leg is definitely advantageous. Okay, so with all that said, my name is Jared. This is Engineering the Market. Trade safe today. Obviously, we have a little bit of a midday catalyst to watch out for. But overall, market condition day is one of caution. The gap down brings a little bit more concern as to what the bulls will do with this gap down. And obviously that smaller S&P channel, keep an eye on how that starts to form over time. So with that, we'll talk more tomorrow. Stay tuned for pre-market prep.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the pre-market prep. I hope everyone's having an amazing morning. Hope you had a great day yesterday. Good morning, Peter. How are you today? Peter, I cannot hear you, and I have no volumes coming in from your mic. All right. Peter's gonna mess with some stuff there. Looks like he's taking his mic apart and doing some tech work. So as he does that, guys, we'll take a look at our stocks from yesterday. So let's take a look here. Some of the stuff that we had on our list, starting with Neo. Yesterday was a very interesting day, man. It seems like stocks were just confused on what they wanted to do. There was a lot of indecision, a lot of choppiness also. A few traded very well, but for the most part, we had a lot that were just all over the place. And even when you were right on your move, some of these stocks just the pullbacks were too aggressive. Take a look at Neo, for example,
Yes.
here. Yep, got your sound coming in now. Just want to do a
Oh,
quick.
thank
There
goodness
you
I'm
go.
alive.
Yes, yes, you're alive. You sound well. It's a good day. All right, Peter. Good. Good morning to you. Hopefully you are well.
Good. Yes, good morning. And sorry about that. Yes, I hope you're doing as good as well, Carlos.
No worries at all. Here we go, guys. So Neo popped up at the market open at the bell here, did pretty good. Then you got this weird wicks happening, right? Very tough to get some kind of confidence when you're seeing movements like this here. If you take this out, let's say this week did not do this here, it probably would have been a good opportunity, right? Breakout of 2218. We had that on our list there on our daily chart as far as levels, and you can see the beautiful breakout here. Then it goes flat for really 11 all the way almost to the close. Does pretty much nothing. AMD here, another one that again drops down, gets this huge engulfing candle here. We had a lot of stocks that did this as well. Again, it just didn't seem like really good, clean price action, which is okay, guys. I mean, if you look back at the last couple of weeks and the way this market and some of these stocks have been treating us, they've been really, really good. So we can't complain. It cannot always be, a blockbuster type day, right? So here it is, CCL. Also, just again, a little bit of indecision, a lot of candles overlapping the previous one. Just not overall clean action. Baba was brutal yesterday. I mean, this thing was literally just did not find any type of direction at all. And just nasty price action all around. Amazon actually did, yeah. Remember, Amazon did very good. So this was actually very clean out of the few stocks we had. I think Amazon, Apple, and Tesla. Actually, the next three were the ones that actually traded somewhat decent. So if you're watching these, you had some good opportunities towards the upside as well as towards the downside here, getting a quick reversal, which is again very hard to take this trade, guys. I know we talk about it like it's easy to identify, but this is very tough to do. I prefer one of your trades type trade, Peter, of a mountain pass or so, because you get more
Mhm.
confirmation that hey, things might be going the other way. This year, you don't know. It's very tough. Um, we have
Another one
Apple
that
here. Mhm.
found some direction was Meta. I don't think we had it on our list yesterday, but
I did not. Mhm.
they had a challenging day. But once they found their direction, the stock
Yeah,
went
look
with
at
it.
that. Look at that. Meta 168, the highs of yesterday, all the way to 158. So almost $10 drop there. Oh, it continued. I have not seen this chart. Oh man.
Yeah.
What was there any news on this, Peter? Or it's just, I mean, it's just chess. I don't know. What's going
No,
on here?
there is no specific news. So there's general concern over their business model, but yeah, it was like the open, as you could see, was pretty challenging. But once it decided on a direction, you just could ride it all afternoon.
Wow, wow. Yeah, pretty aggressive stuff there towards the downside on Meta. Could be in play today. They're down 1%. I mean, after a day like this, I would like to watch to see what it does today. We mentioned Apple. Apple again, great open. Then goes flat. Tesla had a very nice opening day, and just overall, probably one of the best tickers to trade yesterday was Tesla. Unfortunately, I did not trade it. But man, this was a real good one. Had everything going. Opening range breakup on the 5 minute. You had a beautiful continuation break out of a couple of levels that we had here, 690. And if you missed that one, no problem. You got 706. And this was a better one because you got the confirmation. You got the confirmation, you got the volume that came in. So I mean, this is perfect. This is textbook trading right here on Tesla yesterday. So I hope you took advantage of that. I know Andrew did for sure, and he did very well with this yesterday. So that is what we had, guys. Taking a look at our gappers list this morning. Guess what? Let's swing the other way now. Let's swing down. I mean, we're up yesterday, a couple of things in the green. Now we're heading the other direction, and this market, just the up and down action continues here, guys. And again, we're not going to go through all of these. We'll look at the top 5 or so, and then we'll hand it down to you guys to see what you got going on this morning that you might like. So, and we'll look at our favorites, of course. Tesla's going to stay on our list. Apple is going to stay on our list, and probably Amazon. And Neo, I guess I got the watches already done here, but we're going to have our favorites on our list because that's what you can watch, and they've been doing so well. So, let's get rid of this. Peter, let's go to Market Pulse and kind of see what's happening there, overall market stuff.
Yeah, so yesterday we had some enthusiasm. Maybe it was, going to be a sign of a move up, but as Carlos pointed out, we are down today, and we're down because of anticipation of Jerome Powell's testimony that he's going to be making today and tomorrow. Today, I think it's at the Senate Banking Committee. And then tomorrow he needs to testify again. I believe it starts at 9:30. I've seen 2 different times, 9:30 and 10, but it's best to assume that it starts at 9:30 because that could mean that we see some market reaction to it. I find these things fascinating because if I could anecdote you with a story for a second, if anybody's a parent out there, kids will often sit around and just wait for you to tell them what to do. Generally they know what they should be doing, but you need to tell them. I learned as a corporate executive, adults are not much different. Often you can walk around and seem wise by telling people to do the stuff they already know they need to do. And they're like, yes, that's a good idea. I will go do that. I mention it because I feel the market is always in the same condition when we get this testimony. There should be no surprises. We generally know what he's going to say, but we're waiting to hear it before the market will react. So here we go. People get nervous ahead of it. And Powell's probably going to tell us what he's already told us, the news from the Fed, and yet the markets are going to react to that stated testimony that, again, should yield no surprises. But if you're in a trade or you're thinking of a trade, just be aware that is going to be a market impact. Other than that, no other announcements or market news of note. That's the big one.
Yep, I could not agree with you more, Peter. It's just funny how that works. All right, guys, over on YouTube, thank you so much for joining in this morning so far. Let's make sure you hit that thumbs up. We're going for 400 likes today because what's happening is with the little bit of a issue we're having with our chat room here, our numbers are not looking great because we have our members coming in, but now the ratio of likes and viewers is throwing us off. So we're working on fixing that chat room situation because it's more convenient. But now we need your help because our numbers are not looking great. So we would love your help there. So 400 is what we're going for today. If we can get that, that would be amazing. But if you have done it already, we appreciate it very, very much. All right, guys. So let's take a look here. Let's start with the top 5. Again, we're going to go through this process where we're seeing many, many stocks here in our list. Billy, JD, Roblox is in here today, gapping down. DKNG. I mean, it's just, if you traded it, it's on here. There's no question. American Airlines, Nike's on here. Snap. I mean, the list goes on and on. We got some really big names here too this morning that we have not seen in a while, like Nike gapping down. I wonder if that has its own catalyst because they tend not to move as much with the way this market has been, and they're gapping down 2.5. So it seems interesting there, that gap down that they're getting. All right, let's start at the top. We'll go through that. Let's do top 5, and then we'll see what we can get out of this. I'm gonna go ahead and remove our list from yesterday. Control A, Control X on your watch list. Releases everything, or at least deletes it and keeps the rows. And we'll start with REV this morning. And if we look at REV, it is a low float stock with 37% short flow interest. So to be careful, and that's pretty high. That's you see it in red here on Trade Ideas, and they are up 32% right now with 13 million shares traded. Oh, this is Revlon. Well, yeah, this has been back and forth action. Peter, well, what's the latest on this thing? I know they've been on the news. I didn't dive into the actual details of the catalyst because I don't like to trade the stock, so I just didn't really bother. But I wonder if anybody did, because obviously they're getting some action here this morning.
Yeah, so this is sort of like the original meme stock type behavior. And Jared actually made a good analogy. Revlon is acting a lot like Hertz did after they declared bankruptcy. So everybody knows they're about to declare bankruptcy. The stock drops. Notice it dropped to about $1 a little over a week ago. Then what happened is look at how the volume picked up at that point. Right. So really, this is just opportunistic trading. It's not investing. This is just trading, and the stock has gone from almost $1 to $8 this morning. It's just sort of momentum movement. So it hasn't changed the fundamentals. Now, Revlon, there is rumor of a suitor that might pick them up out of bankruptcy.
Hmm.
That has got some interest in the stock, but most of this is really just trading. So it could be a good trader. I mean, heck, look at the volume this morning. It's crazy. 13, almost 14 million shares so far.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah.
the volume is in this. And if you look back over the previous few days, I mean, yesterday it traded 186 million shares. So, I would, I wasn't watching it yesterday, and maybe I should have been, but I'm definitely going to keep an eye on it today just to see what it does.
I agree with you here. I mean, I don't think we talked about it yesterday. I definitely wasn't watching it. But yeah, this seems interesting, man. The way it's been trading with that volume is just insane. Hitting $1, then going to 8 here. So, yeah, let's keep an eye on it. I'm going to put this one as a possible just because I'd rather watch something else, but I'm not going to deny that this thing is in
Now,
play today.
if you do watch it, you got to keep in mind. I mean, this is a low float. You got to play this like a low float. It's not, but it's trading
Hmm.
just like that, right? Like any one of
Yeah.
those meme stocks, or like a miner or a biotech. Like that's just the way it's trading. So, meaning you could expect huge moves. Like this thing could move $1, and when it's only an $8 stock, right? That's a huge percentage move. So
Yeah.
just be
Yeah.
careful of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just so far today, from 6 to 794, we're up 31%, right? So these are some big moves happening here. We'll definitely keep an eye on this one. All right, that's the only thing gapping up today that's in the green. Let's take a look at what is in the red this morning. Everything. Starting with coin. Oh, my trade ideas is not linked in. Let's do that external linking here quickly. Delete. Oh, yes, delete, and we'll add a link here. Here we go. Excellent. All right, so coin this morning, they are down. Oh man, these guys. Ooh. We are down here, guys. 8%. I mean, it just keeps on dropping here. 700,000 shares traded. I like this one. It is in play today. I like the pre-market activity. We do have shares for sure. I mean, this is a good one, Peter. I'm definitely keep an eye on it. Overall, besides the market, anything that we should be aware on this one that you have seen or no?
Big, no, not specifically to coin. I mean, Bitcoin is down once again today, heading back towards 20,000. So that's got some weakness in the segment, which obviously is a concern for coin. As to corporate news, it's settled down, which is interesting because there was a big concern over liquidity and the ability for them to deliver to their sort of customer commitments. But that seems to have settled because if you remember, there was some strife in the industry with one of their competitors that was not able to make distributions when people were asking for it. So, I think it's good for the cyber cryptocurrency market, if you will, for that news to sort of quiet. But yeah, I don't know. I've never really had an interest in trading coin or any of the related stocks because they don't seem to trade the way I like.
Yeah, they rarely do. I mean, Mara is the one that I traded the most before. Bitcoin and Mara and Riot again. I just think they're not what they used to be. Bitcoin seems to be picking some of that up. So we'll see. I like it this morning. Let's see where it goes here. Of course, Redbox is on the list here today. I'm not even going to be watching this. So how did it do yesterday? And also in the chat here for our members and our viewers on YouTube, have you guys traded this? Have you found it somewhat ideal to trade intraday style? I mean, I don't see it. It didn't look like it was great yesterday neither. But to give it the benefit of the doubt, a lot of stocks were not great yesterday, so you got to be mindful of that.
Yeah.
Um,
This is, I mean, to me, this is the new meme stock. If really there ever was a meme stock, let's face it, this is Redbox. I mean, they rent DVDs from
yeah.
physical devices. Like it's a
Who is
remnant of a
still
bygone age.
who is still doing that? I mean, we had
I
one in
don't,
my grocery store here, but they took it out. I mean, who is still doing this?
I don't know.
Uh,
Somebody's got a DVD player out there and is doing it because I mean, I guess I've got one, but I don't know the last time it's been used.
uh,
So.
All All right, guys, we'll put it here as a possible. I mean, you got some volume here, some movement. I'm not a big fan of it. So we'll put it on there. Here's a food too, guys. They were down 6%, and I don't see a lot of the Chinese companies in here. Oh, a little bit towards the bottom. I don't, no, not even Becky. Yeah, not it's
No,
not a
the
heavy
news.
Chinese list today. Yeah.
No, the news has really shifted back to North America again with this, with the Powell testimony and the expectation of interest rates, which will have a greater impact, of course, on North American-based stocks.
Yeah, yeah. So again, it looks interesting. We'll keep it on here. It looks interesting today. It is leading the way as far as the biggest Chinese stock gapping down today. So we'll see what's going on there. MRO this morning not looking all that good. Down 5.2, 800,000 shares traded. It doesn't seem great right now. I know we looked at this before. It's an oil type company. Maybe Oxy. Is Oxy on the list today? Oxy is on the list, down 4.3. So maybe Oxy could be one that we look at. I prefer that one because it just trades a little bit better. Right, heading back up, guys. Well, DVN, what is this? Energy company. So a lot of energy stuff down today, down 5.1. I'm not going to be adding this one. Again, I think it trades a little bit funky. Price action could be a little choppy at times, but they could be in play today because I see a lot of them down this morning. BBBY down 5.2, Bed Bath and Beyond. The volume is not there though. That's the only reason I'm not going to add it. We need more volume on this, especially for this stock. It can trade very well when it gets volume, right? So I'm not seeing that in this pre-market. Here is Billy. Billy right now, yeah, just not a whole lot of volume. Now we're starting to get into the list where just everything is gapping down, but there's no real reason why. It's just overall market stuff, right? So let's look some of our favorites. I'm going to look at Neo. We tend to like that one. They get great volume for the most part. Already we're seeing 1.4 million, so that is nice. They've been trying to be strong here, guys. These Chinese stocks have been trying to, as I mentioned before. It's just, again, they're getting a lot of headwind with the overall market. But Neo is good. I like the volume so far, down 2.1. Apple, not so good this morning. A little lighter on the volume. Maybe we'll skip on that one today. AMD, down 1.2. Volume, it's okay. Actually, 846 for AMD is actually pretty decent. Well, let's see, Peter. What do you think? AMD on the list today?
Oh, of course, it's
What
always on
kind of
my list.
what kind of question is
But
that?
yeah, but it's not doing anything special today. Yeah, you
Yeah,
mentioned
right?
Neo. If people are interested in that segment, LI has been on a run. The daily's fantastic, and even this morning, it's the only of the EVs that is actually green.
Mm.
And it seems to trade well at the open. So if that's something you're potentially interested in, I don't know whether it's going to do anything this morning, but we're almost at 1 million shares, and it looks okay to me.
Yeah, yeah, and it was up above 2%. It's not hitting our scanner before around here. It's not hitting our scanners now because it's just half a percent at the moment. But if you look at the pre-market, I agree with you. It does look rather interesting at the moment, and we're almost at a 1 million. So yeah, let's add Lee here today to our list. All right, I'm gonna stop here. Let's take it to you guys. We'll start with both chats actually. Oxy, we have it
Let,
on here. Oh,
let me throw one out too
yes.
that
How
just
can
because
I
we
forget
talked
you
about it
first?
yesterday in
Mm-hmm.
Twitter. Good old Twitter.
Oh yeah.
I sort of like we're not seeing much movement so far this morning, but there was news. So the board has apparently unanimously approved Elon's bid, which I'm surprised hasn't gotten more volume. But to me, this is them calling Elon's bluff, right? So
Mm.
if he was delaying for more information, or whatever, the board has said, all right, fine, we're going to approve the purchase. Now it's up to you, front the cash. So we'll see what happens with this. It's again, this is one of these slowly rolling rocks down the hill, and
Yes, yes.
I just never know which day it's going to take off. Yesterday, wasn't really the day; it didn't do much. But this morning, I said I'm looking at it here and feeling like maybe there might be some movement that could happen. This might be muted, of course, by the Fed speech, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see what's going on with this one. I mean, I'm gonna add as a possible, as you said, something to be looking out for. See if anything breaks out here. All right, anything else, Peter? You like this morning?
The related one, I suppose, Tesla had a good move yesterday, as you mentioned,
Yes,
one of the better trading
yes.
stocks.
Hmm.
So I think it might be worth keeping an eye on. I was sort of surprised to see it up as much as it was, and I think it might move again today. The
Yeah,
only other one
yeah.
that I always keep an eye on recently is Apple. I find that Apple tends to get some good movement. Not big ranges these last couple of weeks, but the moves are fairly. For me, they're sort of the predictable type moves that I like to play. So.
Yeah, I agree. Yesterday were great. This pre-market again not looking so hot right now, but if we start breaking out as 133, that could be interesting. We're down 1.5 on this. I have it as a possible for now, but I won't be surprised if I end up moving this up before we're done with this show here. Okay, let's take it to the room, guys. A couple of things on here. I see a lot of you guys talking about CCL here on in our chat. So Phil, you're throwing that out. Omo Wale, hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. You're throwing that out as well. So let's take a look at CCL this morning. 700,000 so far, down 3%. Not crazy volume. Any news? Once we get a neon, yes. Okay, yeah. So I'm not sure if there's any news on it, but could be interesting to have CCL on the list today. We'll make some room here for that. American Airlines. What do we have? No, not really in play on American Airlines there, so nothing happening there. Triple H is giving us Amazon. Let's take a look there. Amazon was good yesterday too. Did trade very clean. Was one of the few stocks that actually had a nice price action. Amazon down 2.2 this morning. Great volume, 1.8. Which again, we're starting to get familiar with how Amazon is going to trade after their split here. They seem to get 1.8, 1.5 often. So I don't know if that's significant volume for them. But again, they trade very clean. So that's what's more important. So we will add Amazon to the list as well here. And don't worry, guys. I know it's a lot on here, but we're going to fine tune this very, very nicely before we get going here. So Tesla is good, looking very nice. Meta, thank you, Mo. Meta was one that was also very active. Yes, I didn't watch it, but Peter, you showed that this morning how insane this drop was, and we dropped some more this morning as well. We got down to 153. We're climbing out of that a little bit, trying to get into the green. So already this morning, you got some good movement, about $3 on here, almost four on Meta so far. So you know what? I kind of like Meta today, and if we get any type of volume like we did yesterday, this can be very interesting. So yeah, Meta is going to keep on deck as well. Revlon, we do have on here. I have it as a possible for now, but I gotta say, we might move this up because although I didn't like the way this was trading in the past, this type of volume, 14 million, and you are getting movement, it looks interesting, right? So that can actually be something that's in play today. Anything else, guys? Baba was so bad yesterday. It's been good to us this entire month, so we can't complain. But man, yesterday was just brutal. I'm glad I didn't touch it because I would have lost quite a bit yesterday trading this thing. Just the way it looks, it's just look at these pullbacks, every candle overlapping the previous one was not great. Doesn't mean that it won't be great today, but we are down 2.5 this morning. Actually, this daily does look nice. This does look nice here. If towards the downside, right? I want to go towards the top side. Might be a lot of stuff happening there, but towards the bottom, this could be interesting. We do have shares for sure, of course. Yeah, Bob is on the list. Let's put that on there. All right.
Your Bubba made me think of BA, half a Bubba.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
There was news this morning, and it was a little bit of conflicting news that they say business is great. In fact, so good that they're having trouble meeting orders because they can't find enough workers to sort of complete some of the plane builds. And that in turn then had a response from, I think, was it Qatar Airlines or somewhere that said they may actually pull some of their orders and move it to a competitor because it's too backlogged, right? And they need the planes faster than that. So, Boeing saying business is so good they can't find workers, and then they may lose business as a result of that. We'll see. It just could put Boeing in play. So far this morning, I see no sign of that. Volume's pretty low, but it is a NYSE stock, so pre-market isn't always indicative of what happens once the market opens.
Yep, I agree 100%. So BA's here could be interesting, but we'll see how it goes. All right, guys, I got way too many. I'm gonna add BA as my last one, and then we'll stop here because we have a lot to filter through here. Anything else? Anything else that might be sticking out? Disney will watch today on my secondary list. Let's see what you got here on Disney. Today this is good value for Disney, man. Look at they lost this level of support they had here this morning. So this is a good daily for Disney, both long or short, whatever it does here. You're breaking through, you're sitting on a little island here in the pre-market. This could be nice either way because you can run towards the previous day close, or if you lose this level, you can run down nicely to that 90. So Disney does look good, and actually 83,000 for Disney at this time is actually not bad. Not bad, not bad. So that's a good one. Let's get to our community events and announcements, and I'm going to take you guys over to our website this morning. As we do this, hit that thumbs up over on YouTube. We're going for 400 likes today, so if we can get that, we're doing very well. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
So let's go over to webinars, and we had a great webinar by Andrew yesterday on his strategies. So I'll bring you there now. Oh, yours, Peter.
Yeah, we had 2 sessions last night. We had the delayed onboarding session by Carlos, so thank you for that, Carlos, because of the holiday on Monday. And then we had Andrew that sort of described how he trades and gave us that perspective. So that was fantastic. Next week, I'll be doing trading a single stock, which is a great sort of insight, if you will, on what's it like to trade a single stock every single day. There are upsides and downsides. We'll talk about both. The week after that, Carlos, you're going to be talking to us about analysis and risk management. Awesome. So that's kicking off July for our strategy session. So that'll be July 5th at 8 o'clock. Don't miss it. Today is Wednesday, though. It is hump day. And that's also Psychology Wednesday. So we'll get some Wednesday wisdom with Mike at 8 o'clock tonight in our webinar room with talking about anxiety and how to manage it. And the next week, Randy Howe will be with us about keeping your emotions under control while you trade. Both important topics. And you'll notice in this community, we focus a lot on psychology because we all learned the hard way long ago that while trading is a technical endeavor, the maturity needed to management and the ability to manage your risk appropriately all comes from managing yourself and your psychology. This is not you versus the market. It's often you versus you. So the better you can manage that, the more effective you will be at trading over the long term. So Wednesdays today are very important. Thursdays are our mentorship days. And on Thursdays, we always focus on different aspects of trading and answer your questions as much as possible. So we start at 11 o'clock with John, who does a sort of an in-market trading session in our webinar room for our elite members. That's at 11. I often jump in there and help them, or Jared or others. So we're there to answer your questions. And Thor at night does the same thing, where he's always happy to answer your questions when he's on the microphone at 1 o'clock. But on Thursday night, it's a little more relaxed and he can sort of go more in depth on certain topics. So hopefully you'll join us tomorrow for both of those sessions, as well as Ed. I think Ed will be doing his mentorship session. Ed is not here today. He's off. So if you were in his room or planning to go to his room, we put a note up, but he'll be back tomorrow. Hopefully you will also take advantage of some of the free tools we have. We've got 2 of them. We've got the stock trading simulator that you can take advantage of, that just sign up and you can use it anytime to backtest strategies, to practice outside of market hours. We even give you some things to look at, some suggested stocks and strategies you can trade, so you can sort of see how they work on selected stocks. Eamon kindly puts that together, and you can sign up for that at the stocktradingsimulator.com. No obligation, zero cost. You can also use our trading terminal, where we go in the morning to find news and information. I'm using it every day. We sort of used it heavily yesterday to talk about the markets, and when I'm looking up news now, it's the first place I go. I also keep it live every day because you can get sort of a Benzinga feed. You get a live news reader as well as updates, and you can customize this to search for specific tickers down below in the latest news. It's actually pretty functional. It's pretty cool how you can do that. So if you just wanted to, you could put in like the 8 tickers of the 8 stocks you're watching today, for example, or whatever's in your watch list, and you will just get the news related to those stocks pop up. So consider using our tradingterminal.com. Again, another free tool for you. And if you want to join us in the chat room to participate in the chat and the conversation, as well as the recommendations and all of the the eyeballs watching the market that say, hey, look at this, it's moving, or I'm taking a trade in that. It's great to be in this chat room all day. Use the code PreMarket24 for a discounted 1-week rate to join us. And if you like that, then you can join us as an annual elite member. You could join monthly as well, but if an annual elite member, you get a free one-on-one coaching session with Dr. Kenneth Reed, and that's of huge value. So use the code READ50 to take advantage of that, and hopefully we'll see you here in the room soon.
Thank you very much, Peter. All right, guys, let's get to it. Let's look at our list. We got a pretty long one today, so I'm going to just scan through this. We're going to get rid of some stuff that we might not need here. I like coin today, guys. I mean, the volume seems great. Pre-market actually looks good this morning. Daily also looks nice. So I'm going to keep that one on there. Futu looks good to me today, and I usually don't keep these stock on deck. I mean, it's one of the ones I'm quickly to take off my list. But I like this activity on the daily. I like what happened yesterday here. We had this huge pop, and now we're gapping down 6%. This could be interesting. So maybe a possible. No, we'll leave it today. I like Oxy as well today. Man, I like too many. I gotta get really picky now. Oxy looks good, right? We're getting a nice drop there with some volume. Neo looks good as well. All right, we gotta start seeing some stuff that looks bad here. AMD. You know what? AMD. You know what? I'm gonna move this down because I know you're gonna watch it, and I know you can call out some good stuff on it. So I'm gonna take off AMD from my list. I know you'll be looking at
Very
that
fair.
one. Lee looks good now. Between I'm not. I want to keep both Lee and Neo. Let's keep one. And I gotta agree with you, Peter. Lee does look better even on the daily. Um, Man, yeah, okay. Let's take off Neo. Neo could be a great possible still, right? So we'll keep Neo on the possibles list as we chop things over here. Tesla is gonna be on deck for sure. After what it did yesterday, already this pre-market activity is looking good. Definitely on deck. Meta here, nice little pop. Oh, it went green, so got a nice pop here this morning. This is gonna be on
Mm.
fire today. Seems like this is gonna be one to watch. And then we have Baba, which is gapping down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh man. Okay. I gotta take off one more. Futu. Sorry, man. Futu's gotta go. Futu's gotta go because it's just, let's go with our gut here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That is perfect. Secondary list, let's get really picky here. We have BA. Gonna remove Redbox for sure. Let's get rid of that. Revlon, great volume. Apple looks good. CCL is okay. Amazon. We'll deal with the secondary list later. There's just way too much there.
Yeah, when
Yeah,
you have a lot of stuff like this, sometimes it's
yeah,
really important to really you sort of face yourself and say, what am I likely to trade, and what am I most
yeah,
comfortable trading? Because like Futu, for example, it might look great, but if you know you're just not comfortable trading it, or you're just unlikely to take a trade, don't consume your limited bandwidth in watching it.
exactly.
Right? Put
Yeah,
something else
yeah.
on your list that you are more likely to trade. I know I've got stocks like that where it may be moving great,
Hmm.
but I just know I'm not comfortable. I'm not likely to trade it. You're better off to put it aside. And if it comes up, then take a peek at it at some point. But don't waste your focus.
Yeah, exactly. This is why I moved it down because again, it looks good, but if you look up here, these are more likely for me to take a trade on, right? So, all right,
Right.
let's do levels, guys. Let's go here. Start with coin this morning. I really like the way this is setting up today. Looks good pre-market. Look good on the daily. 51.56 is the low of your pre-market there. Towards the bottom, you have the low from the last two trading days right on here, and then all the way down here, you have another low over at 46.17, which could be your all-time low. Oh no, never mind. Never mind. The all-time lows at 41.23. That was back in middle of May there. So we got a couple of levels towards the bottom that we can attempt to hit today. And we do have high of the pre-market over at 56.65. Towards the top, more levels, previous day close, and more highs there as well. So looking good there. On coin here is Oxy. Oxy looks great today. Beautiful daily gap up. And now yesterday, now we're gapping down here. Pre-market activities looking nice. Remember, Oxy, you normally don't get a lot of volume in the pre-market, and we're getting that today. So this is why I like this one this morning because it seems like it's getting very active very early on. That could be a good sign for us here. 54.90 is the low of the pre-market. We're flirting with that right now after a nice little run towards the downside there. 56.11. 16 to be exact. 56.16 is the high of the pre-market this morning. Towards the top, you got tons of levels up here that you can aim for. 2 days ago low is the most recent low I see here. If we scroll to the left, we got a lot of support around that low that's coming up here from 2 days ago, right there. You see that support happening here. Your low of the pre-market also has got a lot of support there as well. And then if we were to lose that, we do have some key levels down here, 53 and all the way down here, 51.61. I don't think we'll get there, but we'll be ready to go if that's the case. Towards the top, you don't need to add anything, guys. I mean, it's just a lot going on in here already. Here is Lee. So Lee's got a great volume today. Pre-market action looks good. One of the few tickers in our list that are actually green. Meta just went green as well just a couple of seconds ago there. Lee high of the pre-market 36.50, so we'll mark that down. Towards the bottom, pretty good level so far. Very clean daily. So the highs and lows of the last two trading days are providing some very clean activity for us as far as levels. We don't have to really do anything down here. Even your pre-market low right now is right at the penny of the low from yesterday's action. So you're all set there. Okay, we're pretty good there. And then towards the top above 37, if we were to go on a little run here, because it is looking rather strong this morning. Oh, don't do that. Bring that back up. I want to zoom in here. We have 37.45. We got to be higher than this though, right? Have we been higher than this on Lee? Interesting. No? No. Oh, we're getting into
we
some.
did
We have?
back in November of 2020. Hit a high of $44.
Oh, okay. My thing wasn't going back far enough. All right, so we'll do another one on here above 37. Yeah, we got some highs. So 38.77, and then we have 40.37. Got a couple on there that we can go off. Okay, perfect. Lee looks good this morning. Look at the run since early May, mid-May till now. This thing was at $18. Now at 36, man. What a run they have had since kind of things settled down over there in as far as catalyst with China and everything else. Tesla, guys, great trading yesterday. Today we are moving pretty good here. We are down still 1.8 after being all the way down here to 685. Now at 698. Still in the red this morning. High of the pre-market all the way over at 705. So we'll slam a level there. And then around the price action, around your highs and lows, you have plenty of stuff here, guys. Highs and lows for the last two trading days. Previous day close. I mean, you got tons of levels. I don't think you need to add anything. Don't make this more complicated than what it needs to be. Here is Meta. Meta going green, guys. So right now, high of the pre-market, 158.35. Low of the pre-market, all the way at 153 here in the red. Found a way to get up there. So that is looking good after a massacre yesterday, right? So let's see what it does today. Let's see what it does. Very interesting to see how this thing is going to play out. Already almost 1 million shares traded here and picking up nicely this morning after that 8:45 looks like. And here's Baba, and I like Baba because the way we're setting up here in the pre-market low right now, the way we're testing this looks very nice. We got volume 958,000. I know they traded horrible yesterday, but man, they could trade very well. Hopefully today could be one of those good trading days for Baba. High of the pre-market 109 and low of the pre-market just below this 103.66, which I marked here, which I'm still going to keep. Your low is going to be all the way down here at 103.05. So plenty of levels here, highs and lows, guys. And if we do want to get something below the low from 2 days ago, which is right over here, let's take a look to the left. A very clean level, obviously, is here, this 98.10. That's a good one if we can get there. But you do have a couple in here that we might test, like this 99.78. Not a major level, but this one down here is major. But that 99.78 could be something where you want to have on deck in case we do stall there a little bit. All right, that's what we have, guys. Peter, anything that you like on your end that might have come up that we haven't talked about yet?
No new tickers. I think you've covered them all. One thing I do want to mention, though, and Carlos, this will be a shameless plug, so bear with me. But you did a great video about what, 2 days ago, maybe now, where and it's on our channel. Look for it. It's only a 7-minute video, but it's about, is this a good time to get into day trading? We're getting this question a lot right now with the market down and the uncertainty, especially like the afternoons are fairly choppy. Going into the summer, like you've got all this stuff that might make you think, you know what, maybe I'll wait and I'll try it later. If you're interested, if you're considering trading, especially if you're just watching us on YouTube, take a peek at that video. It's only 7 minutes, but it gives you some compelling reasons why, this might be a good time for you. I love this time of trading. I find it gives me opportunity. Yes, you have to show more patience, but if you can learn to trade in this market, then you're ready to take advantage of when the markets are quote unquote easier, or when they're trending, because then you can jump in with some confidence. So yeah, I would say watch that video. Hopefully it'll give you the support you need to continue on your trading journey. So take a peek.
Absolutely. Thank you, Peter, for that. Guys, let's take a look here at our at our chat room. Our chat's having a little fun here today. AMD is always at my primary list stock. Changed my mind. That's some great Photoshop, by the way. That is really good. Here's Peter, his backyard. So you can see this is all his property here, by the way. I don't know how they got a picture of you in your backyard, but very nice. Very nice. All right, guys. If you haven't done so already, hit that thumbs up over on YouTube. We appreciate it very much. Our goal today was 400. We're coming up on 3 minutes. We're at 350, 346. So if we can get a couple of more likes, we are definitely in the green. Right now, we're in the red, trending down a little bit. So if we can get in there, that will be amazing. As we're doing that, let me bring over our moderators watch list. Let's see what our mods are watching today. So I'm going to go ahead and resize this over here and bring that over. Let's do this and see what that looks like. All right, so we'll bring this here and resize this so you can still watch the watch list and nothing looks crazy. All right, here we go. All right, let's take a look at our moderator. Oh, there we go, 400 guys. Thank you so much. Go, what is it? Likes secured, funding secured, likes secured. There we go. So here it is, guys. Susan today.
Awesome.
A couple of things before I forget. Also, we have the NYC meetup, guys, coming up this Saturday. So here's the link. I know we put it on YouTube. I'm going to send it again on YouTube now. But if you're interested, we would love to meet with you guys. It's going to be this Saturday, June 25th. You know, Andrew, I'm going to be there. Artie's going to be there and a couple of others. So definitely join us. That is the link there, RSVP. We'd love to have you. Come meet with us, have a drink or two, and it'll be a lot of fun. So, all right, with that said, guys, here it is Susan watching this morning Tesla, Neo, Qs, and the SPY. And of course, you'll be watching the scanner store. We'll be looking at BABA, SPY, Qs, Meta, and BA, and the Pivot Alert bot as well. You can follow this on Twitter, by the way, and get alerts right from Twitter. Debo will be looking at Meta, Lee, AMD, Apple. Jared will be looking at Meta, energy stocks today, Tesla, and Revlon this morning, which has insane volume. What are we at? 17 million right now, up 33% on Revlon there. Megan will be looking at SQ, mRNA, Disney, Pins, and Oxy. Peter, no IPOs for today. Well, I one IPO and then no SPACs for today. And then your list, you like AMD, of course, Apple, Meta, Revlon, Twitter, and Amazon today on your list. So pretty nice, pretty nice. So guys, we are all set. Coming up on 9:15 over on YouTube. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for getting us to our goal of 400 likes today. We appreciate that very much. And question: how long are we staying at the NYC spot? We don't know. I think it's set for 2 hours. You know, but these things, you know how it is. You set 2 hours, you can go longer. Maybe there's something else happening after. Who knows? But definitely would love to have you there. Okay. We are all set. What is the highest likes that the show has ever gotten? You know, I don't know, but 447 is pretty high up there, Christopher. So we're getting into all-time high territory. Peter, anything we might have missed before we log off?
No, trade safe, everybody. Be careful. Don't forget. Well, I shouldn't say no. Yes. Don't forget. Powell testifies maybe 9:30, maybe starting at 10. Either way, it'll be shortly after the market bell rings. Expect additional volatility. It may provide great opportunity for you, but just be aware of it so that you can trade smart. So take care, everyone.
Guys, take care, trade safe, and we'll see you tomorrow at 8 a.m. with Engineering the Markets with Jared, and then followed by Peter and I for the pre-market prep. Have a good one, everyone.